So who is in the US oil, please? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be around when the reversal pattern formed. But if you're an avid listener of my program here, you would have definitely taken advantage of that US oil without hesitation. So this is what we talked about yesterday. We were actually running on profit yesterday, and I advised that we move our stop loss to $121, which you can see price broke down that bullish trend line, and we saw the breakdown of the bullish trend line here. Remember, I told you how sensitive it is when price is oscillating right above or below a bullish or bearish trend line. And at that area, there is a possibility that price could actually break down or break out of the trend line, whereby pushing price to the opposite direction. So that's why we need further confirmations to join a potential bullish or bearish trend. So yesterday I made mention of how sensitive that area is, and in that regard I had to identify a key level at $122 to guide our actions going into yesterday's New York session. So we told you that we should move our stop loss here to $121, and as we can see, we saw our price broke down bullish trend line into taking us out of our position as price hit the stop loss at 121 area, and then we saw multiple rejections of that key level, which sent price going to the downside. So we can see how price went into the previous structure. Remember, I told you how we could be looking forward to this area at 120 area for potential reversal momentum. That is, if we have a breakdown of the bullish trend line. And the expectation of a breakdown of the trend line was also envisaged during our session yesterday, and we said something like price breaking down that area into somewhere around here to take advantage of a bullish momentum. And if we look closely into what happened since the breakdown happened, we can see that we had a reversal pattern within this area that looks more like a double bottom structure that you could have taken advantage of going into the UK session. So if you allow me to give you a visual representation of what I'm talking about, we can see that we had the breakdown of the bullish trend line, and price came into $120.10, and then we saw structures that looks more like a reversal pattern. We saw a breakout of structure, we saw a retest of structure, and we saw the big move to the upside. If you are an avid listener of our strategy here in the house, you would have taken advantage of that move, even though I am absent in the picture. Like I told you, this kind of reversal patterns, we look for it on the lower time frame because of the analysis we are making here on the 1 hour time frame. And if I go down to the 15-minute time frames, for instance, we can see how that played out. We saw that move, a breakout of that structure. We saw a retest of structure, and it was an opportunity to take advantage of a move to the upside. So definitely, um, the move will have happened right above this structure around here. So I don't know if anyone in the house took advantage of that bullish momentum. Please, if you do, let us know. And if you had, what did you see that made you um, sure that it is good for you to take? So right now, at this point now, we will be okay. Today I'll listen to you very well. Okay, what 2307 says thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Hello. 32399 is new in trading and wants tips and needs to make money. Sure. Everyone here needs to make money, wants to make money. And like I always say, the only advice I will say is the first thing, be patient. Always be patient. Very, very important. You must be patient. And then secondly, the idea of getting rich quick syndrome must be totally eliminated. Forex is not a get rich quick syndrome. It's not a get rich quick platform. You need to, and thirdly, you must be ready to get involved in the process. And the process is what we discuss here every day. And if you are with us here every day, definitely you will be able to see how we go about making our decision. Here you can see, you'll be able to witness my thought process prior to making a decision. And if you continually be with us here, it gets sticks to you, and then you can actually and independently take your own trades. And if you have peers that you think we want us to look together, you are free to share it in the comment section. Then if we have time, I will definitely go through it with you. So that is that. Somebody is asking, what is the currency? What is the best currency in exchange speed? There's nothing like best currency. There's nothing like best currency. I'm not sure if I understand what that question is anyway, but there's nothing like best currency. So if you don't mind, I'll prefer you rephrase your statement for better clarity, for better understanding. Thank you. So here on the US oil, we want to be readjusting our key level to somewhere that will be guiding our action going into the New York session. So if we look left, we can see how this area has been a resistant point. We had a support area at this point. We had support. We had somewhat support resistant at this area. We had a support resistant, 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 resistant area. So you agree with me that that area around 121.30 or 121.50 area is most appropriate for us to cite our key level at this point in the market. So if you allow me, we shall adjust the key level to somewhere around here, where we will be looking forward to a possible retest of that structure to take advantage of a trend continuation to the upside. So one thing I used to advise here is that if it is possible for you, you can screenshot my screen, munch my screen, so that you can have something to refer to when you're about making your own decision on this pair. So that's the first parameter we're going to be using to guide our actions going into the New York session. So the second thing we want to be looking out for is to identify that bearish trend line that that gripped the market since on the 8th of this month, and then we saw that move go to the downside like this. So we can see our price has been respecting that bearish trend line since Tuesday, Wednesday. You can see what I mean here. As soon as price tested $123 area, we saw our price has been respecting that bearish trend line, and then we saw the breakdown of the bullish trend line. We saw multiple rejections, which also aligns with the bearish trend line. And right now, during the early hours of today, we saw the breakout of that trend line, which also shares a confluence with the key level at 122 or $121.50. So allow me to relabel this for the sake of clarity. So we have something like this. So we had the breakout of that key level, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line. Then definitely we understand that after every breakout structure, from a technical perspective, we're expecting that price will do a retest of the key level, probably the retest of that bearish trend line, after which we'll look for patterns that supports a trend continuation to the upside. So for me personally on this one, we want to be having our entry point right above that key level, that is 121.50 cent, $121.50 area. Then we should be having a position size like this, something like this, and our take profit target still remains at 125 So if you allow me, we still have $125 around 3,500 pips with a stop loss right above that previous entry point that was visible. So we have it right here, and then we'll have a position that looks more like this. So going into the New York session, we're actually hoping that price will come a little bit down so that we can, for those who had missed that opportunity to take that bullish move, could see another avenue to take advantage of a bullish momentum. Nika 75 from Germany, good morning to you. You're welcome on board. 870, good morning. Can PTC USD? Okay, we'll look at it. US oil, all right, we'll look at it. Mm, we're already looking at US oil anyway. So this is what I'm expecting. If you had missed that move, it's not advisable you just jump in and enter the trade. So what we want to be looking out for is a retest of structure where we could be taking advantage of a bullish momentum going into the New York session. So that is what we'll be looking out for on the UK oil. So now moving on to the UK oil. We have a similar scenario on the UK oil, and I think I explained this clearly yesterday on how to take advantage on the UK oil. We didn't see that we didn't see that setup on the US oil yesterday, but we saw it on the UK oil, and we were profitable on the UK oil yesterday, and I advised that we move our stop loss to 122.90 area, after which we saw our price um, um, our price broke down, took us out at our stop loss level. So I would like to delete this one. I would like to delete this. Sorry. So I said that if we have price continue to reject the key level at $123.50 area, you can see what I said. I said we should be finding a buy opportunity zone around 121.20 and 122.40, which finally happened. And we saw how we had a reversal pattern. We had a breakout of structure, a retest into structure, and boom, price went to the upside. I don't know if anyone took advantage of this trade, as it exactly moved the way we expected yesterday. And if you had done that, kudos to you. You will be running with about how many pips in profit now? Probably around over 140 pips in profit. So that is our expectation so far, and it's moved as expected. So going into the New York session now, what can we do for those who actually missed that opportunity? How can we take advantage of that bullish continuation? So well, the first thing I want to do here is to readjust our key level, because we need a yardstick that will guide our actions going forward. So if I look left, I can see how this area, around this area, had uh, been respected at one point in time. You can see how we had multiple rejection, that area becoming a support level until we saw the breakdown of that area. We saw a rejection of that area, then we saw a breakout of that area. So what this simply means is that this area around 122.80 area is more of a level we want to be looking out for to take advantage of a bullish momentum. So if we bring out our line chart, we have something around here. Let me just put it right between here and here. So we have 122 points, I think 80. $122.80, which is going to be our key level going into the New York session. So personally, what we want to be looking out for right now is a retest of that structure of that key level to take advantage of a trend continuation. But the way I am seeing this bullish engulfing candle that have gripped the market in the last 3 hours, I'm doubtful of how the possibility of price coming back into this key level. So we really need to be very, very conscious at this point. You can see that move. If you are, that's why I said if you are taking that move to the upside, kudos to you. You have really done a very good job on that one. So that is the only thing I can say right now is to wait for price to come into that key level to take advantage of a trend continuation to the upside. And if it doesn't, then you just pass this trade at least for this week. And um, let's wait for next week to happen. And we might be having another opportunity to take advantage. So identify a bearish trend line here also, which could also be a parameter for us to look for buying opportunities, as we have seen a breakout of that trend line here during the early hours of today. We saw the breakout of the trend line here, and then we should be looking forward to a retest of either the key level or the trend line, then patterns that support a trend continuation on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So our take profit target on this one still remains at $130 area. Actually, we chose between 129 and 132. So I just used the main average, which is 130. So that's where our take profit target is. If we have missed this move, then definitely we just wait for the retest. We in profit since the beginning of the week anyway. We're in profit of we're running about 300 over 300 pips since the beginning of the week. So this is what my expectations are on the UK oil. I don't know if you have questions or clarifications, or you need better understanding to this. You can type in the comment section, and I would be able to attend to you accordingly. So I'll give you 20 seconds to do that if you have questions. (979) hi, good morning to you, you're welcome. 967, hello. 159, hi. Oh, I'm fine, thank you. And you? Half free, hi. 260, hi. Bashir, okay, glad to have you around. Good morning. How are you doing today, Bashir? 5667, hi. You're welcome on board. 567, you're welcome. So, in the absence of none, we'll have to move on to the next pair, and that is on the BTC USD. BTC USD has been very, very indecisive in the last 24 hours as we continue to see price doing lower lows and lower highs. However, within this lower low and lower highs, we have a consolidation phase where we can see that there's been an indecision in the markets and price has been caught within a range. And for us to take advantage of any move to either side, we want to be looking out for a breakout of this range, where we will be looking for a retest of that structure to take advantage of bullish momentum to the upside. So presently we are still yet to take a trade after that bullish move we took on Monday, and I hope that profit is enough for you for the week, depending on your account size. However, like I used to say, we really need to be very, very patient, as it is better not to take a trade than to take a trade and lose money. So let's look at this presently. Let's see what the structure is saying here. We have a key level right here at $30,000. The black line here, allow me to give it a golden color to emphasize its importance. So we have a key level right here. And one thing I will be suggesting at this point is this. If we remember what we talked about on Monday on the BTC USD, we identified this area at $29,500 area as a very, very strong demand area. As we can see, our buyers have been respecting this area since the beginning of the month of June. You can see we had multiple rejections here. We saw how this area has been a major determinant of a bullish move. So with the scenario we're having around this channel here, you know that price is still oscillating right above that demand zone. So with that in mind, I will be expecting that a bullish momentum could be coming up going into the weekend. And to have a confirmation of that, definitely we want to be looking for a breakout of this key level at $30,000 area. So allow me to label this area for the sake of clarity so that if you had done a screenshot, then you could see at first sight what that area is and how important it is. Okay, so let me put it at the right hand side here. So we have a key level sitting right at $30,000 area. So one thing we want to be looking out for is a breakout of this key level. And if you look closely, we can see that this key level also shares a confluence with that bearish trend line. So if we have a breakout of that key level, that means we're going to be having a breakout of that bearish trend line as well. Then we want to be looking for a retest of structure on our low time frame as usual, and patterns that support a trend continuation to the upside. So what this simply means is that if we have a breakout retest of that key level area, then we want to be adjusting our entry point right above that key level to take advantage of that potential bullish momentum. So this is what we're going to be having here. Hold on a second, please. Hold on a second. I think I'm getting things mixed up here. Okay. So we will be having a scenario that looks more like this. So we'll be having a scenario that looks like this, and with our stop loss right at the previous low. And so we have the entry point right above the key level. That is after we see a breakout and retest of structure, mind you. Then we have our take profit target still remaining at $32,000. Let me adjust this. $32,000 remains our take profit target, and that's about 1,800 pips. So let's see how this plays out during the New York session. Um, to do a quick recap, what I'm saying is this: I'm expecting a breakout of the key level, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line, then a retest of structure where we'll be looking to take advantage of that bullish momentum to the upside. So this is what our expectations is on the BTC USD. Any questions? Stream roller, good morning to you. You want us to look at the USD, okay? If we have time, we will definitely look at it. Let me put that down so that I don't forget. The USD, if we have time, I promise to go through that. And then, okay, hi Max, good morning. Glad to have you around. Trust you had a wonderful night rest. Line Live, good afternoon to you. Great to have you on board. Hi, Max. Yes, I'm looking to buy BTC USD, and the only way I can buy BTC USD is only if price breaks above that key level at $30,000. Then we have a retest for confirmation sake. So it's not advisable to just take the breakout outrightly, unless you've already make awesome profit on the BTC USD before, so you could have some money to spare or some money to risk in that regard. So if you don't have that, then definitely I will suggest we wait for confirmations, and that confirmation will only come at a retest of that key level. That the confirmation will come at a retest of that key level. Then on the lower time frame, we look for patterns to support a trend continuation to the upside. So that's the only way to trade the BTC USD and be on a safer side. Streamroller, good morning. You're welcome. UC Chakok. I'm not sure I pronounced that quite right. Hi, how are you? 6187. Hi, how are you? Good morning. You're welcome on board. So, that is what we are looking out for on the BTC USD. I think there are no other questions, right? Okay, in the absence of none, we'll want to move on to the Euro CHF. So on the Euro CHF, we finally took profits. We took profit yesterday at New York session, and if you had been part of this journey on the Euro CHF, kudos to you. Thumbs up to you. Well done. So now that we have since price came into that area at 1.0500 area, remember I said we should place our stop loss up, we should place our take profit around that area because of the possibility of us seeing bearish momentum from that area. And you can see price did the same thing as we had projected. And right now, personally, for the week, I will just pass the Euro CHF, and we hope to see setups that will favor us during next week's trading session. So for the Euro CHF, though I'm actually seeing some potential of buy continuations around here, as we can see how price has rejected this area multiple times in the past. In the past, I think in the past 12 to 15, 16 hours, we've seen multiple rejection of that area. However, to for further confirmation, we want to be seeing a breakout of that structure area and then retest to join that bullish potential to the upside. But personally, for me, after taking around 165 pips, I don't think we are in that pressure to take advantage of any move right now. Let's just keep our calm and let the pattern unfold by itself, and we will use that pattern to take advantage of any move next week. So on the Euro CHF, let's pass Euro CHF and let's move on to GBP New Zealand. On the GBP New Zealand, what do we have on the GBP New Zealand? I think, like I said, I told us to pass the GBP New Zealand yesterday if we price moved to break even yesterday, and we can see how price went to the upside on this one, and price has finally come back into this area. So personally, for me, I'm still going to be very hesitant to take any trade on this. Like I told you yesterday, I'm still expecting price to come and retest that bearish trend line that was broken earlier this week. Then I will be looking to take advantage of that bullish momentum to the upside. So on the GBP New Zealand too, I'm not in a hurry to take any trade. We actually made 180 pips between Monday and Wednesday, I guess. We made 180 pips on the GBP New Zealand, so we are not in any pressure to force ourselves into unnecessary positions on the GBP New Zealand. So on the GBP New Zealand, we passed the GBP New Zealand. Then moving on to GBP USD. GBP USD yesterday, we were taken out of GBP USD at stop loss. It was unfortunate. We expect that bullish momentum. I personally we saw the breakout, we saw the retest of structure, we joined the rally to the upside, but unfortunately, price came back to our entry points and took us out. So we can see our price has been trending lower on the GBP USD, and if you had not taken advantage of that move at a breakdown of that key level at 1.25300, retest of that key level, if you had not taken that advantage, then I would advise that you let this one pass, because I'm of the opinion that the dollar is becoming stronger in the last 24 hours. So GBP we pass GBP and move on to I think gold too as well. We talked about gold yesterday. Gold did not move to as expected yesterday. I don't know. We were expecting the breakout of that key level retest of structure, but that never happened as price continued to find lower lows. And I made mention yesterday that if we do have a breakdown of that bullish trend line, you can see what I'm saying here. Remember earlier on the US oil where I was explaining how sensitive it is when price is sitting on a trend line. It's very, very sensitive. Can you see how multiple rejection happened here? So we need confirmations before we can join that bullish momentum, and we didn't see that confirmation. The only signal we saw is this bearish move to the downside, and then we saw a retest of structure, and definitely it is a good time to sell the gold at this point. So if you had missed this, then we want to be looking for further confirmations in the form of a breakdown of structure around here. If I bring out my line chart here, we have something around here to play with going into the New York session. So we have a key level sitting right here at 1843. That's $1,843. Give me a moment to build this out. $1,843. So going back to our line chart at this point, our candlestick chart at this point. So let me delete this. This no longer holds. And let's delete this. Let's delete this so we can have a clear screen. Yeah. So that's that. So this buy opportunity area no longer holds. So we have a key level right here. So going into the New York session, there is a possibility that we could have a sharp move to the upside where we see moves going to the downside. However, if that does not happen, then we want to be looking for further breakdown of the skill level to give us confirmations. Then we look for a retest of structure and patterns on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So if we are joining the decline to the downside, where's going to be our take profit target? So first of all, our stop loss will be right above that key level, which has around 400 pips. Then our take profit target can be, if you can extend that previous impulse leg, as is this impulse leg here, and we aim at 127.2 and 1414, then we should be having somewhere around here to take our profit. So we have around 1,000 pips to catch if price gives us that signal and confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. Then we could take advantage of that move. Please allow me to go to the lower time frame so that we can have a more precise form of entry. Let me go to the 15 minutes time frame. So on the 15 minutes time frame here, we can see how, so we're having our stop loss right above previous structure. So we have a previous structure right here. I'm not sure I'm being heard at the moment. Sorry if you can hear me. Can you place a hi in the comment section, please? Can anyone hear me, please? Can anyone hear me, please? Okay. Angel, you can hear me, right? Please, if you can hear me, say you can hear me, please, so that I can confirm. Okay, great. So let me continue then. Let me continue then. Um, so what I'm saying here on the gold is this. I'm looking out for a breakdown of that key level, and then we want to look for a retest of structure, after which we look for patterns on the lower time frame supports a trend continuation to the downside. So we have a stop loss of around 300 pips, and we take profit targets of 1,000. So that's like a risk reward ratio of 1 to 3. So that is our expectation here on the gold as we head into the weekend. And then on the Euro card, we talked about Euro. We shared something on Euro card yesterday, and price moved significantly in our favor to the upside. And if you remember what we said yesterday, we also had that same scenario where price was oscillating right above a bullish trend line, and I emphasize how sensitive that area is, as we really need to see further confirmations to give us that signal to take advantage of that bullish move. So we had around three we had two parameters that was guiding our action going into the New York session yesterday. We had a key level at 1.346 area, which I said we want to be looking for price right above that area to take advantage of a bullish move. And then we saw that spike yesterday. We saw this move to the upside. It was a huge move. I think about how many pips move? About 100 pips move to the upside. Then we saw price come back down to do a retest of structure, which also touches the bullish trend line, and then we got our trade triggered at this confirmation, and we are presently running with about how many pips in profit now? We have like 30, okay, 25 pips in profit right now. And if we look at what is happening at 1.35 area, it appears price wants to be running down, um running bearish, as we can see how rejection of 1.25 1.35 area has been consistent since the early hours of today. So one thing I'll be saying at this point is we should move our stop loss to somewhere around here. We have a structure around here, so let's move our stop loss to, give me a moment so that we can identify this together. So we have our stop loss right around this area at 1.34770. So our stop loss will be red. So we have our stop loss around it. That's about how many pips? I think it's only 11-10 pips. So let's move our stop loss to this area, and you can see that is right below the bullish trend line I said will be guiding our action going forward. So our take profit targets still remain at 1.36. I just hope price gets that far before the end of the week. So that is that on the Euro card. If price hits our stop loss and breaks down that bullish trend line, then we want to be abandoning this trade and come to fight another day. So that is that on the Euro card. Then on the New Zealand USD, I think this is a fresh pair I want to share with us today, and I hope things work out as expected, as we have been on a bearish trend line on the New Zealand USD. And because of that, sorry about that. So on the New Zealand USD, we've been bearish for a very long time, and because of that, I'm expecting that we continue on this bearish trend. So, because we've been on a bearish trend for a long time now, I'm expecting that this bearish trend will continue. So on the New Zealand USD, I'm having like around 60 pips for us to catch on this one if price moves in our favor going into the New York session. So this is what I'm looking out for in the New York session. I'm expecting price. So we have a key level to catch first that will guide our actions going into the New York session. I think my line charts can't give us that in precise figure, But if we use our candlestick chart, we have something like this as our key level going into the New York session. So personally, I already have a pending order right at 0.61424, which I'm going to take right away. I'm not waiting for confirmation on this. This is just going to be a testing water for me. I think I made a lot of profit this week, so I don't mind um, risking some 20 pips move where I will use this to test waters. If I see a breakdown, then if I see a retest, then I want to add more position to this trade massively as I want to join that further decline to the downside. Like I told you earlier, it appears the dollar has been rallying very, very strong in the last 24 hours. So this might want to happen going into the weekend as well. And we might be seeing a massive move on the New Zealand USD. So I want to take advantage of that move too as well. So let me quickly look at what the ADA USD before we close for the day. Like I promised that if we have time, we will look at it. So let's look at that and then call it a day. Stream roller, we are trying to look at ADA USD right now. And the first thing I want to be doing here is to go to the daily time frame and let's see what has been happening um, for some time now. So, okay, we look at this. We've been on a long-term bearish momentum. As we can see, if we connect the series of lower highs, we can see that we have a bearish trend line that has been respected for quite some time now, since the later part of last year. This trend line has been holding. So now bring it back to our chart. Um, we see this. We can see the trend line holding. Price as soon as price touches the trend line, it rejects it, and we saw this huge expansion that began in April, and price rejected 0.39 area in the month of May, and since then we've been seeing higher highs and higher lows at this point. So there are two scenarios at this point in time. The first scenario is this. Considering the long-term bearish momentum on this pair, we might want to be looking for selling opportunities on lower time frame. However, the second scenario is that we could be seeing price climb further up into that bearish trend line, after which we look for reversal patterns to join the decline to the downside, or we could be seeing a breakout of that trend line for price to continue to climb to the upside. So we have like three scenarios on this one. So to get a better picture into what is happening really, we need to scale down to, let's say, the 4 hours time frame, and let's see how price has been playing out since the rejection of 0.39 area in the month of May. So if you allow me, let us zoom in closely into what the structure has been giving us, and then we can see, let's find a key level around this area. So if we look left, we can see how this area has been a resistant point, sorry, a support level. We had a resistant point here, resistant point here, resistant. We had a support level, we had a resistant, we had a support level here, support level here, and then we don't know what is going to happen as we head into the New York session. But one thing we want to take out of this is that we do have a key level to work with as we head into the New York session. So if you allow me, let's draw out a line around the 0.60 area, and we have something like this going into the New York session. So what does this key level do to us? So first of all, let me label this. We have 0.60 here. That's more of a psychological level on the ADA USD. So we have a key level right at 0.60. Am I right on that? Okay. Yes, 0.60. So we do have a key level that will guide our action going into the New York session. So what does the key level do to us? The key level serves as a guide. It allows us to, it serves as a yardstick. It allows us to guide our perspective, either bullish or bearish on this one. So if we want to be going bullish on this one, we want to be seeing price rallying right above key level to the upside. And if we are going bearish on this one, then we want to be seeing price break down that key level, do a retest of that key level, then we look for patterns on lower time frame to join the further decline to the downside. So that is one, that's the second scenario and that's the second part, that's the first parameter we want to be using to guide our action going forward. Now, the second parameter is this. If we look left at this point, we can see that this area has been a supply demand in the past, at least since the early part of May. As soon as price gets into this area, we saw multiple rejection. You can see we saw the first rejection here, we saw the second one here, and we saw the third one here, and then we saw one here too sometime in this month. I think last week we saw another one here. So what does it tell us about that area? It tells us that our area is more or less a supply zone. So we should label this. We have this area a supply zone. So we have it right in between. Give it a moment. Let me make this a little bit lighter. Okay, so that we don't get too clumsy. So we have that area as a supply zone. So personally for me, having that area as a supply zone, I want to be seeing a breakout of that area for a bullish momentum to confirm. So if we could be having a temporary key level around that area. So we have something around this area. Okay, let's have it here. So we have a temporary key level around that area within that supply zone. So if we do have a breakout of that key level, a retest of structure should confirm a bullish momentum as we head into the weekend. However, so that is the first scenario. That's for the bullish momentum right now. Now, if we are looking for a bearish momentum, the first thing I noticed here on the 4 hours time frame is that we could connect a series of higher lows at this point to give us a bullish trend line, which can also help us to guide our action for any bullish momentum as well. So if I draw that bullish trend line here, so let's label this so that we can okay, so we have this bullish trend line. We have that bullish trend line there. So so this is what we have now. So now if we want to sell this pair, we want to be looking forward to a breakdown of that bullish trend line, which appears to which is more or less going to happen. If you look at what has been happening since price has been touching that bullish trend line, we can see we had this huge expansion. We saw this huge expansion from that bullish trend line. Afterwards, the expansion continued to reduce. You see, it's reduced from the supply zone, and it shows how strong that supply zone is. So the tendency of price breaking this bullish trend line is very, very feasible at this point. So if we see the breakdown of that bullish trend line, we can also see that it also shares a confluence with that key level at 0.6 area. So this is more or less a sensitive area for us to play around with going into the New York or the weekend. So once we see a breakdown of that area, we want to be looking for a retest of either this bullish trend line or this key level or structure around here. Then we look for patterns on the lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the downside. So that is one scenario. That is the scenario we want to be looking out for. So if we have that scenario, we have our entry point right at 0.6, 0.58830,265. That is after our confirmation has been affirmed. So we have an entry point there. Then we have our stop loss right above key level, which also, let's also just put it right above the previous structure. Then we have a take profit target around this area. Why am I having a take profit around this area? If we look left, we can see that we have a demand zone around this area. We can see that we had a demand zone around this area where price has rejected in the past. So we could be having a take profit within this area going into the weekend. So that is the first scenario. Then the second scenario I made mention of is price oscillating, breaking above 0.687 area, where we will be looking forward to buying opportunity right above that level, and then take profit target right within the supply, the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. So that's what we'll be looking out for. The stop loss right below structure, and the reason why it's going to be right below structure because we don't want to be too far away from that bullish trend line. Like I told you, we have three parameters to guide our actions on this pair. So first one is the key level at 0.600, then we have a temporary key level at 0.673, and then we have this bullish trend line. So we have three parameters that will guide our action. So the bullish trend line will guide the bullish momentum, and the breakdown of the bullish trend line will guide our selling buyers. So I think I've made justice to ADA USD for you, and I don't know if you have further questions or clarifications needed to that you want me to put to. So Streamroller, are you still with us? Streamroller, are you still with us? Okay, I think it's gone. So that is our expectation here. I'm already out of time at this moment. Okay, Streamroller is around. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for the compliment. So you might want to have a screenshot to be able to use as a guide when you make your independent decision on this one. So thank you very much for being around. And so let's just quickly do a recap of what we talked about so far today. So the first pair we discussed was the US oil, and on the US oil we saw, hold on a second. On the US oil, for those who took advantage of that move yesterday, that reversal pattern yesterday, kudos to you, like I said, and I advise that for those who missed it, we have an opportunity in the sense that if price comes back down into the skill level we identified here at $121.50, then we could be looking for patterns that support a trend continuation to the upside. So our take profit targets to remain at $1.5 on the US oil. Then moving on to the UK oil. I'm just talking about US oil right now. You can quickly look at it. So on the US oil, we took advantage of a bullish momentum right from this buy opportunity zone yesterday. Last predicted, we expected price to move from this buy opportunity zone if we see our stop loss taken out. So we saw that, and now right now we saw our price has broken above and even broken above a key level we identified at 122.80. And one thing I'm expecting going into the New York session here is this. We are waiting for a retest of that structure where we'll be looking for patterns that support a trend continuation to the upside. Mind you, some people will say, okay, fine, as you can see this bullish candle climbing up, you might want to join in, that temptation might come. But one thing I used to say is this: it's better you don't take a trade and don't lose money than to take a trade and lose money. So one thing I want us to do here is be patient. Let's see price come back into our key level, and we look for opportunities to take that trend continuation. And if it does, then we pass and wait for next week to look for trading opportunities. Since the beginning of the week, we've actually been profitable on the US UK oil. Since the beginning of the week, we've been profitable on the UK oil and on the US oil as we took some huge moves. And if we had multiple positions on that, then we'll definitely have been smiling to the bank as we head into the into the weekend. So BTC USD, on the Bitcoin, we have an indecisive scenario where I said price has been finding lower lows and lower highs, and price failed to move as expected. But one thing I made mention here is that the importance of this demand zone at this point, as we can see, our price has been respecting this demand zone between 29,500 since the beginning of the month. And if we look into what has been happening in the last 1 week, we saw that price has been caught within, sorry, in the last 3 days, 2 days thereabout, price has been caught within a channel. So one thing I want us to be looking out for, and because we are right above the demand zone, is to look for a breakout of the key level identified at $30,000. Once you see a breakout of that key level, which you can also see shares a confluence with a bearish trend line, then a retest of this area, then we want to be looking for patterns that support a trend continuation to the upside. So our take profit target still remains at $32,000 on this one, and we have our stop loss right below the previous structure. So that is on the BTC USD. Then we went on to talk on the Euro CHF, where we saw we made 165 profits yesterday. Price hit our take profit target, and since then we saw price come down into this area as so we saw price come back into this area at 1.0400. Now, if we look at what is happening here, we can see that we have multiple rejection of this area, making this area a very strong demand zone. However, for me personally, it's Friday and we're already rounding up for the week. Personally, since we already made profit on this one, I would just say we should just hold on and let's wait till next week, and let's see how price plays out um, towards the end of the week. Towards the end of the week, that's today, and whatever happens on Monday, we can now make our decision on this one. So I'll pass on this one, and let's move on. So on the GBP New Zealand, we also hit take profit target on the on Wednesday, and right now we saw. I told you yesterday to move your stop loss to break even, and we were taking out at break even. If you are taking the counter trade opportunity, and price is back within this area. So for me on the GBP New Zealand, I'm also passing. So on the GBP USD, we were stopped out yesterday on the GBP USD. And one thing I said here on the GBP USD is that let us pass this one and let's wait to see how price plays out. If you had missed this move, this selling move, said the breakdown of that cable, retest of that structure. If you had missed that, then let's just pass and wait for next week. So on the gold, um, the buy opportunity we expected yesterday didn't work as expected, as we saw a breakdown of that bullish trend line, and we saw a retest of structure, and we saw reversal patterns that supports the trend continuation to the downside. And I also said well done to those who took advantage of that selling opportunity from this area. And now I said for those who missed that opportunity, then going into the New York session today, I identified a key level at $1,843, where I suggested that we should be looking out for a breakdown of that key level, then a retest of that structure on lower time frame, where we could look for patterns that support a trend continuation to the downside. So we had a take profit target here on 1,832 pips, and we have our stop loss right above the previous structure is around 300 pips. So price already moving in that direction already. So let's see how price plays out, and I wish you the best on that. So on EuroCAD, we are profitable on EuroCAD, and one thing I said here is that we should move our stop loss to 1.34767 area, which is right below that bullish trend line. So we want to be seeing price continue to the upside on this one. So take profit targets still remain at 1.3600 with about 130 pips approximately to catch. So on the New Zealand USD, I shared with you a simple setup where I'm looking for a trend continuation to the downside. We saw this impulse leg. Price has been bearish for some time now. However, in the last 24 hours, we saw this impulse leg, bearish impulse leg, and we saw a retracement into this area. Then we saw rejection of this area, and I'm looking forward to a trend continuation to the downside on this one. So personally, I told you that I have a pending order right at 1.0.64122 area, as I am taking that trade outrightly to test the waters. And if price comes into, I'm just testing waters right now, price breaks down, I the trade triggers, and if I see a rejection of the skill level area again, I will add more position. And this kind of setup has the tendency of multiple entries, and I will be willing to take advantage of those multiple entries as time goes by. So that is that on the New Zealand USD, and we talked about ADA USD, which we explained a couple of minutes ago. So on this note, I want to call it a day. Thank you very much for being around. It was fun being with you guys. At least I had quite a lot of response and interactions with you guys, which is more fun. And I look forward to seeing more of you on Monday, same time here. And on that note, I wish you best of luck today and goodbye.